What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Eddie Express DFS podcast presented to you by Draft Dashboard. Remember, you can try out all the tools I use in this video 30 days for $1 by clicking my link in the description below. Never a better time than to come on board and try out some of this stuff. Gets you access to all 4 sports currently. You can play around with it on the MLB, NHL, NBA, and the NFL. All 4 sports in full force. Great time to try it out, and it's literally free to try out. It's $1. So anyways, we are back for the NBA season. Opening night for most teams tonight. Watched a little bit of the Clippers and Lakers games and the Toronto and Pelicans games. Just excited that NBA is back. First, we'll take a look at the cheat sheet. The players that are in red are in my Watch Players tab. We'll go over that next. But here's just kind of a quick glance at the cheat sheet today. It really helps you out when you start assessing values. All right, we'll get into my Watch Players tab. We'll talk about the plays that I'm playing for today. Before we do that, please click the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. I will be putting out an NFL video directly after this one, but we're going to go through the plays in the NBA first because I'm excited that the NBA is back. First up, I have LaMarcus Aldridge against the New York Knicks. New York Knicks last year, 26 total team defense, 30th against power forward center eligible players, so not good, dead last. So great matchup for LaMarcus Aldridge, $7,300 price tag on DraftKings. I like him quite a bit. He should eat in this matchup. You'll see any of the plays that I talk about that have this little crown next to them. That means that it is a king pick for the system. So the system really likes plays like that. Next up, I have Maximilian Kleber or Maxi Kleber. Look, Dwight Powell's hurt. Kleber should start in this game, and he'll probably play 28 to 30 minutes for $4,200. I think that's a great price tag. He's only projected to be owned by about 4%, but I expect that number to be higher than that. Just another guy I want to talk about for value, Maxi Kleber today. Next up, I have Jeff Teague drawing no ownership in a pretty good spot against the Brooklyn Nets. I really like this game as a whole. I'm a Timberwolves fan, so it makes me like it even more. So if you see me playing Timberwolves players and think I might have some bias, I might a little bit. But Jeff Teague is going to get keys to the car with Karl Anthony Towns and Robert Covington. Andrew Wiggins, not so much for me, but Jeff Teague, I think, is in a pretty good spot here, 5,600. I think you could see a double-double for him in both points and assists. I really like the projection of 28 almost at 5,600. Again, the Nets' overall defense was 18th, and then against point guards, they were 15th. Next up, I have Chris Paul, projected ownership at 23%, 63% chance to hit 5x, going up against the Utah Jazz. Now, the Utah Jazz have been really good, as you can see. Defensively, they were number 1 last year. Against point guard position, they were 12th. They also switched point guards, so you will have Mike Conley's defense against Chris Paul opposed to Ricky Rubio's. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Rubio's was pretty good defensively, in my opinion. Projected ownership is 23%. And he's really the only guy that they have outside of Danilo Gallinari. So I think at 7,400, he's in a pretty good spot with a 36 projection. I like to round up when I look at projections. But next up, I have Ricky Rubio in the same, actually in a different game. I keep forgetting that he's on the Suns, but we just talked about it. Ricky Rubio, 58% chance to go 5x or better, 10% projected ownership. Kings last year against point guards were 27th. Team defense is 22. Rubio, if he's healthy, should have a pretty good year. He fits the Suns well. Neither one of these teams plays defense, so $5,800 Ricky Rubio I'm going to be interested in. Next up, I have Bojan Bogdanovic for the Utah Jazz, 14% projected ownership, 67% chance to hit 5x. going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder were 20th against small forwards last year, 17th overall in team total defense. Next up, I have Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is a guy that's going to benefit from some of these guys being out. Looks like Mitchell Robinson's already been ruled out, and I believe that Taj Gibson is questionable, but I don't expect him to play. He's an older guy. I think they'll wait for him, and they have like a million power forwards. They have Marcus Morris. They have Julius Randle, Bobby Portis, so there's no need to rush a guy like Taj Gibson, in my opinion. Not projected for any ownership, 55% chance to hit 5x value. Spurs were pretty good against power forwards / centers. Pretty good team defense overall. I just think that I'm always a believer in Bobby Portis, so I always can include him when he's in a reasonable spot, and I think he is tonight. Next up, I have Andre Drummond, 8% projected ownership, 71% chance of hitting 5x, $8,400 price tag, going up against the Indiana Pacers, who were second in team total defense and fifth against centers. But without Blake Griffin in this game, Andre Drummond's going to see a usage bump, and I think that even at an $8,400 price tag, he's pretty much a lock for a double-double. He should play quite a bit unless he gets in foul trouble. Should see anywhere from 32 to 34 minutes, I would assume. So that's pretty safe for a guy like Andre Drummond. So I like him quite a bit. Next up, I have Nikola Jokic, 15% projected ownership, 53% chance to hit 5x value. The Portland Trail Blazers were 10th last year against centers and 11th as a team total defense. But you have guys like Zach Collins are going to be trying to guard him, and they're just short at the center position. You have Nurkic still waiting to come back. I don't believe he's going to be playing for a while yet, nursing an injury. So you're going to have Hassan Whiteside try to deal with Jokic. Whiteside's a pretty good defender. I will give him that, but he doesn't stay on the floor as much as Jokic will. I think Whiteside will only see about 24 minutes, whereas Jokic might see upwards of 35. So you're going to get matchups with him and Zach Collins on him. I think you can exploit that with Nikola Jokic. Next up, I have Joel Embiid. There's some really good centers on this slate. Joel Embiid is one of them. He's going to get Enes Kanter defense. So I'm not even going to talk about last year's defense for the Celtics because it's completely different. No Al Horford there now. So you'll have Embiid versus Enes Kanter, and then Robert Williams. I mean, good luck stopping Embiid. The Sixers are one of my picks to be the better teams in the East. I think they'll be very good. But I still think it's all centered around Joel Embiid until we see otherwise. Next up, I have Karl Anthony Towns. Projected ownership is 20%, 59% chance of hitting 5x. He's the most expensive play on the board, 10-1. Going up against the Nets. The Nets were brutal last year against centers. Karl Anthony Towns is a dark horse to win the MVP, I think. If his team is good enough, this dude is just a beast. So don't shy away from rostering him tonight. Next up, I have Mike Conley against the Oklahoma City Thunder. 22% projected ownership, 60% chance of hitting 5x. OKC, their point guard defense should boost with Chris Paul opposed to Russell Westbrook. Next up, I have Kyrie Irving, 18% projected ownership, 60% chance of hitting 5x. Going up against Timberwolves team defense last year, 19th against point guards, 19th. Listen, Kyrie Irving's just going to get all the shot volume in this game. You're not going to see a whole lot. We don't have Kevin Durant. You have guys like DeAndre Jordan and Jarrett Allen playing center. Karis LeVert coming off an injury, and Taurean Prince. Not a lot of guys that are going to be taking a lot of shots. I expect Kyrie Irving to shoot at least 30 times in this game. And, okay, maybe that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but at least 25 times in this game. Great spot, 8,900. That's why he's getting 18% projected ownership. Next up, I have Kelly Oubre Jr. For the Phoenix Suns. 56% chance of hitting 5X. No ownership. Good matchup. I think this is just a missed spot for most people. In this one, I expect Kelly Oubre to have a pretty good game. Gets blocks, gets steals, can shoot the three. I think he's in a pretty good spot here. Next up, I have Taurean Prince, another value play, 4,400. Should play a decent amount in this game. Timberwolves against the small forwards last year / power forwards were 28th. I don't know if Taurean Prince is going to see a lot of Robert Covington, but that would be my assumption. Covington's pretty good defensively, but when Covington is not playing at the 3 and the 4. And next up in the same game, I have Robert Covington, 73% chance of hitting 5X. Last year against small forward position, Brooklyn was actually pretty good. Covington, this is my team. The Timberwolves, I follow them very, very closely. And I followed them in preseason. Covington's last preseason game, he ended up with 19 rebounds. So if you're worried about him playing the 4, don't. He's going to stretch out the floor. He's going to shoot the 3. You're going to have guys that are uncomfortable guarding a guy as quick as Robert Covington, who can stretch the floor and shoot the 3. I think he's in a pretty good spot. It is the first game that the Timberwolves will be doing this. They will be running out Robert Covington at the 4 instead of last year's Taj Gibson. So big difference in what they're planning on doing offensively. Next up, I have Bojan Bogdanovic. Not to be confused with Bojan Bogdanovic. I believe they're brothers. But anyways, 7% projected ownership, 66% chance of hitting 5X. Bogdanovic is in the game that has the highest total. He's a 3-point shooter. He can do a little bit of everything. 4,800, pretty good price tag on him. Next up, probably my favorite point guard play other than Kyrie Irving is Jamal Murray. He's just too cheap. $6,300 price tag, 15% projected ownership, 64% chance of hitting 5X against the Portland Trailblazers. Next up, I have DeMar DeRozan, 16% projected ownership, 53% chance of hitting 5X. Good spot against the Knicks. Don't have to talk about it a whole lot. Bradley Beal, 21% projected ownership, 64% chance of hitting 5X, 8,800 against the Dallas Mavericks. The Washington Wizards are pretty chalky today, but I think it's pretty good chalk. They have decent price tags on them and a decent matchup. Next guy I want to talk about is Derrick Rose. The Pistons are going to run out some goofy lineups. I expect Rose to play quite a bit in this game. 25 to 30 minutes would be my guess. 8% projected ownership at just 4,400. Again, they're playing against Indiana, who is good defensively. But when you get a team that's shorthanded, you have to roster guys like this. So I like Derrick Rose quite a bit today. Next up, I have DeJounte Murray for the San Antonio Spurs. Not really getting any ownership, 61% chance of hitting 5X against the Knicks. He's looked good coming back from an injury. I was a fan of his before he got injured, so get him in a good spot at a decent price tag. Fire him up. Next up, I have Luke Kennard at 17% projected ownership, $3,300 price tag. That's why he's getting the ownership. He's going to play probably 30 minutes in this game. And he's 3,300. Don't have to talk about it a whole lot. He's just a value play that you need to have. Next up, I have Zach Collins. Again, another guy who's going to get a minutes boost, 5,400 with almost a 26 projection. Matchup-wise, nothing great. He might see a little bit of Paul Millsap. But you get a guy for 5,400 who can shoot the 3 and is pretty athletic. I like him. Next up, I have Luka Doncic, highest projected player on the board tonight. He's also one of the most expensive, 9,400, 7% projected ownership. The Wizards just don't play defense. I expect Doncic to do a little bit of everything. Really excited to watch these guys play, him and Porzingis together. So we'll see how that goes. And last guy I have is Thomas Bryant. Again, 2,400, 66 or 24% projected ownership, $6,600 price tag, and that completes my 26-person player pool. What I like to do is go through, select players alike, eliminate the ones I don't like, and make a core, and then I'm going to use the mass lineup generator. I'll show you that in 1 second here. We're going to build a lineup on both DraftKings and FanDuel. I'm not playing on FanDuel, but I'll build one for the FanDuel players. So the first thing I want to start off with is I want Karl Anthony Towns. I like Kennard for value. Covington I like. Paul I like. I would like to get, let's see if we can get, I'd like to get Jamal Murray in here. Let's get Jamal Murray in here. And then let's try and get Aldridge back in here. I think we can safely get off of DeRozan. Play a guy like Aaron Gordon. He was in my player pool originally. I must have clicked on him. I know I didn't talk about him, but he's in a pretty good spot. So something like this on DraftKings: Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, Aaron Gordon, LaMarcus Aldridge, Karl Anthony Towns, Luke Kennard, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Jamal Murray. I like that quite a bit. I think that's pretty solid. Let's take a look over at FanDuel here. We're not going to be playing Teague for 63. I'll tell you that much right now. Oubre's solid. You get one center, so we might as well grab, let's go Embiid over here. Covington's a little more spendy than I'd like to play. Where's our value at over here on FanDuel? I haven't looked over here, so there might be something that sticks out like a sore thumb, like Max Kleber. 28% projected ownership over here. And go Collins. Get up from Bojan. Get a guy like... Get a guy like Prince. Gives you some salary to spend up a little bit. Kyrie, down from DeRozan. McCollum. Go Jaylen Brown over here. Something like this on FanDuel leaves 100 on the board. I don't play on FanDuel a whole lot, but just kind of like to do a quick build for people that use FanDuel, just to show you the difference between Towns and so Towns is almost double the ownership of Embiid, so actually triple. So, but anyways, I just like to do that quick just for the FanDuel users. I know I don't talk about FanDuel enough on my page. I'm more of a DraftKings player. So I'm going to run some crunch here. So here we go. I like to set my lineups. We'll run 20 lineups. I like to run zero randomness because I trust my plays on my player pool. You can do medium randomness, high randomness, unique players, minimum points projection. But this is kind of how I like to run my lineups. I like to trust my player pool and then get a little bit. I like to leave a little bit on the board so my lineups are unique. So I usually do within 1,000 of the salary. You'll get some lineups You'll get some lineups that use all the salary. You'll get some that leave on the board. Makes your lineups kind of unique though. So we can run this quick. Go low. Turn that off. 40. So then what this lineup generator does for you, it just spits out the lineups that you want to use. I play 100 for NFL. I play, certain things, certain days. I play different amounts of lineups that I generate, but I do love this optimizer. And then you can sort it by projected points. As you can see, I left the randomness on low, so it gives me guys like Josh Richardson and Millsap and Dedmon. I think I might have accidentally cleared my player pool, but anyways, so here's the lineup generator that it gave out. So it spits out lineups that you can use. Then you can select all of them and then export them. I've already done that this morning, so I won't do it again. But anyways, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, click the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and thank you for stopping by, and good luck today.